Hey, good evening. Dr. Titch here. How you doing? Excited again to have the fourth session on the couch time with Dr. Titch. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about one of the key principles. But before we get there, I just want to say I'm so excited about what God is doing in my life and in our lives. It's been such an awesome and exciting day. We were at FLC, Fivefold Leadership Conference today with our spiritual parents, Apostle Nikki and Prophet Lillian, and God has opened an amazing door for our ordination as and commissioning as an apostle, and Dr. Francisca as a prophet of God. So I'm so excited about that, and I believe God is just taking us on a wonderful, wonderful journey, and new doors, new seasons, new utterance opportunities, and access to new resources, new opportunities, new doors. Like Paul says, a door of utterance is opened unto me, and there are many adversaries. We thank God for the doors. We learn and we deal with the adversaries that the enemy sends against us. But I want to encourage you that in every season of your life, God is preparing you for more. He is preparing you to step into the greater. He is preparing you to step into that which He has prepared for you. So God prepares things for you in every season. And when He has prepared them, He comes and begins to prepare you. He begins to deal with you. He begins to work on you. And that's exactly what God's been doing. That's what I believe God really has been doing in our lives and ministry. And for you as well, as you listen to some of these resources, I believe God is preparing you for what He has prepared you for. And the level of preparation and your level of yieldedness to what He is doing in your life will determine whether or not you're able to enjoy the fullness of what He has put in place for you. So let God prepare you. Let God work in you. Let God get you ready. Let God bring you to that place where you're walking in the fullness of His divine agenda and divine assignment. Don't let personal weakness, personal flaws, personal failures, or personal confinements that you put upon yourself become the limiting factor. One of the things that I love to do in the personal one-on-one coaching sessions, I quote from a book written by a man called Roy T. Bennett, The Light of the Heart. And he says, do not let the limitations of others limit your vision. Do not let what others have said about you keep you from pursuing what is rightfully yours. And then he goes on to make this statement that if you can believe in yourself, you can achieve what you never thought possible. And that's it. Hey, that's exactly what we go through in our lives. The way God is saying there's greatness in you, there's success in you, there's influence in you. But then you look at your circumstances, you look at your background, you look at your family name, you look at your educational capabilities, your academic achievements or the lack thereof, and you begin to say to yourself, I can't achieve much, I can't become anything because my life is limited. So that is why you probably need to read this brilliant book by Dr. Titch Tanyanyua. A book that will change your life, Living Beyond Extraordinary. This book is fresh out of the oven. It has only been out for the last almost a month now, about just over 3 weeks. Brilliant book. I love it. I'm enjoying reading it and I'm enjoying sharing it with you. And it's really been such a blessing to me. And I believe that as we share these principles, you will be encouraged, you will be empowered, you will be equipped to be able to walk in the fullness of God's assignment for your life. And whatever God has prepared you for you, He will prepare you for it. So yeah, let's get into today's little lesson. And we said we're on lesson number 4 in chapter 8 of the 10 keys of living beyond extraordinary, living a life that is beyond extraordinary. What is the fourth key? The fourth key is an extraordinary ability to connect with the right people. You must possess an extraordinary ability to connect with the right people. We started off a couple of days ago and we looked at, let me just go back on my notes here. Principle number 1, we said have an extraordinary language. How do you talk? What are you talking about? Your language is the frame of reference that creates the parameters within which you will create your life. And then number 2, an extraordinary cognitive capacity. The way you think, the way you process information, and how you view your world or the world around you. And then yesterday we were talking about an extraordinary vision. So today, if you're going to live beyond extraordinary, you must of necessity have an extraordinary ability to connect with the right people. It's not just the ability to connect with people, but an extraordinary ability to connect with the right people. So let's get into this one. It's going to be fun today. And please, I want to welcome you to share comments, ask questions. I will respond to your questions, and it's going to be brilliant. Let's have fun together. So let me read a couple of sentences here. Once you have started your journey of living beyond extraordinary, you will notice that you are no longer comfortable around people that you were initially close to or that were in your circles. You find that their language is mundane and irrelevant to what you are processing. This is not a bad thing, as some may want to believe. It is the growth process that you're going through. And then you need to manage the friends. Hence, you hold yourself a prisoner by not changing old friends, which is what we looked at the other day. Mastering this transition will enable you to change your relationship circles because you're stepping into new spaces. As you begin to step into new spaces, things must change. In fact, some things may not change until you get to that place where you're literally changing your habits, changing your language, changing your perspective, changing your ability to relate with people. You've got to initiate the process. The process doesn't come automatically. Greatness doesn't come by accident or by default, and you just wake up one day and, hey, I'm successful and everything's going well. No, it is a process. You've got to deliberately initiate the process of bringing about all these changes. So this is what this book is all about. How do you get into that space of living beyond extraordinary? So the first thing you'll notice as you begin to step out of your comfort zone or step out of the place of mediocrity, you begin to challenge yourself to say, hey, I need friends. I need an inner circle that is deliberate, that is selected, that is people that I tell people, you must qualify to earn space in my calendar. Don't just come and say, Pastor, can I, or Dr. Titch, can I have 10 minutes of your time? You've got to qualify to have 10 minutes of my time. What is your agenda? What is it that you want to do? And I discovered, when my schedule began to get very full with the businesses and ministry and all the projects that we're working on and the different people I have to interact with, now I had to be very strict with my calendar. My PA has to book out time and give people an allocated time to say 30 minutes on this day or 1 hour on this day, you're going to meet Dr. Titch. And then, a lot of people start getting upset to say, okay, so now you think you're so important that we have to make an appointment to come. Why can't we just drop in? Because somehow people have this notion that pastors have nothing to do, that we sit around all day drinking tea and hoping somebody will come for counseling or with a distress situation where we need to come up and become Clark Kent, Superman, and come out and rescue them. No, we are very busy. Ministry is a very, very busy program. And besides ministry, we're in business. So time becomes precious. Time becomes valuable. That means when people come in to get access to your time, I mentioned yesterday, time is the only resource that you cannot multiply or increase. Time is the only resource that we all have the same amount of. And what you do to your time, what you do in time, and what you do with your time will determine what you get out of it. It's a simple principle. In fact, we're going to talk about it in a couple of days, that whatever you invest into time, time is a faithful steward and it will return to you multiplied, quantities of whatever you invested into it. So if you want to be successful in life, you've got to learn and master the ability to invest into time the resources necessary to make you great. That means, what are you investing into time? Right now, you're investing some coaching, free coaching from one of Africa's leading success coaches. So in getting into this space where you're getting coaching, guess what you're doing? You're investing into time. And what will you get out of time? You'll get out of time a multiplied quantity of success, influence, greatness, personal growth, and all of that will then determine whether or not you can ever become great. So continue to invest into your life and into your time the resources that give you back. Now, I diverted a little bit. Let me come back to my lesson here. You have to develop the art of reading people in order to know what they carry and make a decision whether they belong in your path or not. Once you see the value in a person, then you can see how it will be a blessing to you, and then you have to connect with that person in order to access the resources that they carry. Now that is brilliant. That is brilliant. What is it saying here? It's saying, as you go through life, begin to read people, assess them, check what resources do they carry, what gifts do they carry, what abilities do they carry, are they an asset to the vision or not, what value will they add to what I am endeavoring to do. And once you've identified those giftings that are within them, you're able to correctly place them in your life so that you know what amount of time and resources you can invest into them. Now that's how I run my how I run my life. I assess people, and I know people say that isn't that a bit cold and hard and cruel? No, I'm talking about when it comes to destiny, when it comes to purpose, when it comes to vision, purpose, destiny, you must be selective. When it comes to fellowship or ministry, I do sit with lots of people that I'm ministering to, people that I'm adding value to, people that I'm encouraging, people that I'm teaching, people that I'm empowering. I do that, but it's all part of the vision. My vision is bringing community transformation, poverty eradication through the training and equipping of transformational leaders. So everything that I do is always centered in and around that vision, whether it is ministry, business, or the live broadcast that I'm doing right now. It is done with that one sole vision in mind, bringing community transformation and poverty eradication through the equipping and training of transformational leaders. I don't do anything in my life or on my schedule and calendar that does not fit into that vision. So when I invest time with a person, when I go for a seminar, when I go for a conference, when I go and attend an event or a meeting, it is primarily because it fits into the parameters of the vision that God has given to me. So when people come into my space, I have to assess, who are they? What do they carry? What value are they bringing? So that I can extract that value from them and make use of it in the vision. And when I meet people, I expect them to assess me. I expect them to check what gifts, what abilities, what resources am I bringing to them. If I'm not bringing any value to them, then that relationship will be meaningless. Or if they cannot identify value in me, then again, that relationship is going to be a difficult one. Mike Murdoch, in his book 101 Wisdom Principles, which later became 1001 Wisdom Principles, it makes a statement that as human beings, we always pursue the relationships that meet our most immediate needs. So we are need-oriented in our pursuit of relationships. In other words, you never really find value in pursuing a relationship that you don't see or perceive value in it. In the Bible, the Shunammite woman said to her husband, after the prophet Elisha had passed there several times, he says, hey, I perceive that this one is a holy man of God. In other words, her perception of the value that he carried caused her to act and prepare a room so that she could host the man of God. You will never place that much value of building a whole room on top of your house, buying a bed, a table, a lamp, and everything, and furniture for somebody who you don't perceive value in. So when her perception came alive, she acted. So I know people that value me by how they act. So you can always tell people that don't value you will not act in accordance to the perceived value. They will act in their own way. They will act like, well, we can ignore you. They don't return your calls. They don't answer emails. They don't respond to you with urgency. Why? Because they don't perceive the value that you carry. And if all your relationships are relationships with people that do not perceive your value, guess what? Your value will continue to drop. You will be a low achiever. You will remain in the space of ordinary people. The only way to break out of ordinary into extraordinary is when you perceive value in you and you perceive value in the relationships that are around you. Again, Mike Murdoch says this very interesting statement. He says, go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. And I find many people wasting time, days, hours in relationships where they are tolerated and not celebrated. You're only tolerated by people that don't perceive value in you. If all your relationships, like I said earlier on, do not perceive value in you, you're wasting your time, and you're going to end up one day saying, why has my life been such a failure? It was a failure because you're consistently making investment of time into relationships that did not perceive value in you or in your vision. Okay, that's quite loaded. I'm sure it's challenging you to really go through your personal schedule, your personal friends and relationships, and beginning to do a little bit of an assessment. Let's take a couple more sentences here. Please do feel free to make some comments. Like this post, share it with your friends, invite your friends. I've invited a few of my friends, and welcome to everybody who's watching. Francisca, it's good to have my beautiful, gorgeous wife. Pastor Ivan is also there, and Lindo Masonda, hey, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you. And Keith Millionaire Behani, all the way in Bulawayo, watching. God bless you. Thank God for you. Let's take this a little bit further. It says in the book, in the notes here, you cannot develop a resource that you do not know exists. But once you are aware of it, you can both develop it and make use of it by adding value to others. Once you begin to master the ability to audit your own gifts, then you will be able to look at the people around you and identify the value they carry. Whoa, that's awesome. Your ability to identify these gifts determines the relationships you pursue. All significantly great achievers are deliberate about the people they allow into their personal space because they understand the power of investing time into something meaningful. Is that you? Is this talking about you? On the next page, it says important considerations include A, be clear about your assignment. That goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, vision. Do you know your assignment? Do you know your vision? B, see value in other people. And C, be willing to invest into people. Once you know where you are going, you become clear about who you need to come along the journey with you, and you understand how you can add value to them. Now, this is a common trait amongst great people. They are constantly evaluating every relationship that walks in and out of their lives. They are constantly pursuing relationships that add value and letting go of relationships that are no longer adding value. When Naomi was coming back from the land of exile, when she was living amongst the Moabites, she made a decision, let me go back. And the Orpah and Ruth walked with her until they realized, okay, and now it was one of those moments, transitional moments, where Orpah and Naomi were asked the question, where are you going? I cannot give birth to sons to replace my sons that have died and left you as widows. So the only way is Go back to your own people. Go back to the Moabite people and find a husband from there. And this is where Ruth made the famous statement, I'm going with you. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. I want to go with you where you're going. And this is the characteristic of somebody who had seen value, who had perceived that there is value in this relationship. So she was willing to pursue Naomi, and she pursued her and steps into significance. She becomes an extraordinary part of the lineage of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. She becomes a great grandmother of Jesus. Isn't that awesome? Simply by making a quality decision. Now, think of how extraordinary that is. She's a Moabitess. The Israelites and the Moabites did not like each other because of issues of the Moabites worshipped false gods and did all kinds of things. I mean, they were famous for sacrificing children to Chemosh, their god. And now, can you imagine this woman and a former Chemosh worshiper comes and becomes the part of the lineage of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ simply by perceiving value in Naomi? How many of us today are struggling in our lives simply because Naomi came into our lives and we decided to kiss Naomi goodbye like Oprah did? We don't hear anything about Oprah. We don't read anything about her. That was the end of her life because she failed to perceive the value in a powerful relationships. Every cycle of crisis in your life, whether it is financially, relationally, etc., is primarily because in the past you had an opportunity to perceive value in somebody that you let go. So every time you find yourself in cycles of crisis, it's because you failed to perceive value in somebody in the past, and you should have connected with them. You should have gotten to a place where you said, I see value and I'm going with you. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God, and I will serve you. Okay, let's get ready to close. This has been so exciting. I think I went on a couple of rabbit trails, but they're really beautiful. Don't forget to post some comments here. Let me know where you're watching from and how you've been blessed and how you've been encouraged by this teaching. Ask questions. Please feel free to do that. Now, there's just so much here. Okay, let me close with this one. It says here, one can step into the presence of extraordinary people, or into the presence of the extraordinary. But if one does not possess the frame of mind common to those that live extraordinary lives, one soon disqualifies self, as one would be found to be boring and a waste of time and attention. Whoa, strong words. If you have access, gaining access to great or extraordinary people is not as impossible as many think. You may get a 2-minute window period to get access to a great person. But the question is, once you gain access to them, what's your frame of mind? What is your thought pattern like? How do you think? Do you have deep conversations, real conversations? Now, if you're not a reader of books, and if you're not a person with an extraordinary cognitive capacity, if you're not a visionary person, and if your language is wrong, you're going to be found boring in the platform of greatness. All of us have an opportunity every so often to meet people that have a significant capacity to change or redefine our lives or change the trajectory of our lives. But the question is, when you get that window period, do you fluff about, soccer and some boring political statistic and situation that's happening in the economy? Or do you speak vision? And do you speak the language of greatness or in the language of the extraordinary so much that you draw the attention of the audience? And they find you exhilarating, they find you exciting, thought-provoking, they find you worth engaging in. You never can become great or extraordinary in an empty space. You've got to become extraordinary in the place where there's other people. And in order to step into your extraordinary space, you have to connect with extraordinary people. Have you developed an extraordinary ability to connect with extraordinary people? or you still need to work on it. I want to challenge you today as I draw to a close. This is a key to stepping into greatness. You cannot walk into greatness. You are introduced into greatness. These are words that I learned from my father, Apostle Nicky, amazing man of God. He's such a blessing. He taught me, son, you cannot walk into wealth. You cannot walk into greatness. You are introduced into wealth. You are introduced into greatness. So your ability to connect with the right people will determine whether or not they will introduce you to their circle of friends, circle of influence, circle of wealth, circle of opportunity. You've got to master the art of connecting with the right person. In closing, again, Mike Murdoch says this, that you're always 3 people away from one person that can absolutely bless your life. So your ability to recognize that one person who will connect you to the second person and will ultimately connect you to the key person that you've been trying to do business with, somebody you've been trying to get to sign a deal, to sign a contract, to authorize a purchase, or to authorize a project that you've been wanting to do, or to give you a job, or to become your husband or your wife. It is up to you whether or not you make the quality decisions to connect with key people. Master the art to do that. Master the art of recognizing the value that is created by, that is carried by others, and master the art to extract that value, make use of that value to enhance your vision. Thank you so much for joining me today. And before I forget, you can get yourself a copy of this book on our website, drtich.com, drtich.com, drtich.com. You'll be able to place an order there. People are buying it. We sold a couple of them, a few of them today, and we're excited that people are loving to read. People are being challenged to become readers, and that's exactly what this vision is all about, to inspire you to read, to inspire you to be to grow yourself and develop yourself until you are living beyond extraordinary. Dr. Tich here, and thank you for joining me on Couch Time with Dr. Tich. It's been such a blessing having an opportunity to share the word with you. Share this with friends. Click like, send us messages, send us comments, and we will be ready to serve you. Thank you, Ernest. I see it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And he speaks, and as a person speaks, so shall his life be. Diana, thank you so much. Great coaching. Thank you, Dr. Aliawa. I appreciate the feedback. That's our heart, to be a blessing to you, to encourage you, to empower you for your next level. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. We'll catch you again tomorrow, same time, as we go through to principle number 5. God bless you.